Shock in America. China reveals images showing the locations of American aircraft just 24 hours after their arrival in Israel. What exactly is China's message? Why did China choose to reveal these images now and so quickly? Is this a strong message of support for Iran? How has Trump's position changed after this Chinese move? Is Trump backing down from striking Iran? Or are we really now on the brink of a major devastating war that will destroy the entire Middle East? We will talk about all of this today. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to our program today in this new episode, God willing, of the Opinion series. To begin, our topic today starts with this massive and ongoing American military buildup in the Middle East. If we look at the map of the spread of American military bases, along with these ships and this carrier and the American aircraft present in the region, perhaps everyone would think that we are in a region that is, in reality, entirely American, as if these countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Jordan, Iraq, and so on are just names, while the whole region is actually American. What's strange about this American military buildup today is the presence of American refueling aircraft at civilian airports. This time, America didn't deploy these refueling planes, which are originally military aircraft, at military airports. Instead, they deployed them at civilian airports in Israel, Greece, Bulgaria, and other countries. America did this deliberately for exactly two reasons. First, so that these planes would be visible to everyone. And therefore, the message reaches Iran about the seriousness of this threat as a means of pressuring Iran, showing that this threat is real and not just statements, like Trump's threat of military intervention is serious and not just words. The second reason is also to make these planes more protected from any Iranian missile response, because they will be at civilian airports far from any Iranian retaliation. Therefore, America ensures that it doesn't lose such planes, which are, first of all, very expensive. Their price starts at around $160 million and goes up to $290 million per plane. Secondly, because of their large size, they are more vulnerable to being hit if these military airports are bombed, since they are located inside these military airports. And thirdly, the United States has a great need for these planes, so it does not want to lose these new models, like the latest version. Moreover, damaging such planes could also be considered a blow to America's image in this war. That's why they always keep them in these civilian airports, to ensure that Iranian missiles won't reach them, while of course they secretly keep the fighter jets in military airports, so that Iran doesn't get any secret information about the exact locations of these planes, the types of these planes, or the exact number of planes present at this base. But what's really interesting in this context is that yesterday, China sent one of the biggest messages and one of the biggest insults to America in recent years. China, just yesterday, less than 24 hours after the American F-22 planes arrived in Israel, they came from one of the British military bases, less than 24 hours after they landed at these airports. China had even published detailed satellite images of all these planes inside this base. The over-the-air base in Israel, images revealed the exact location of 11 F-22 fighter jets and the exact position of the Patriot air defense system. This Chinese revelation was not limited to just this Israeli military base, but also included a number of American military bases in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, and Greece. The images were very precise, they were high resolution, and they pinpointed the locations of all the F-16 aircraft and so on, along with the air defense systems, whether it was the THAAD system or the Patriot system. What's new this time is that China did not reveal these images through official channels, meaning not through Chinese intelligence agencies or through the Chinese Air Force or Space Forces or anything like that. All these images were only from a Chinese company called Mizar Vision, a Chinese company that provides satellite imaging services, meaning that it sent a strong message from China, a message to America that Iran will not be alone if this war starts, and that China can choose not to intervene directly, but it can simply allow such companies to support Iran with images and precise intelligence data about the exact locations of these American military targets, so that Iran can successfully hit these aircraft and these systems. Air defense in addition to command centers and living quarters and so on with precision. These images caused a shock in America. All American military targets are now exposed to Iran. Maybe these images are worth 1 million words, worth 1 million reports, because they reveal everything. They show the kind of support China has provided to Iran in facing this American aggression and this upcoming Israeli aggression. It's a hybrid support coming through companies that are actually operating behind the scenes. Of course, they are under Chinese intelligence, but practically it can't be traced because it's a private company. And this is like many American companies that provide such services or offer intelligence services or other things, as well as military companies. I mean, when they talk about or send Russian Wagner forces or American Blackwater forces, these are behind the scenes government forces, but it can't be traced. In the picture, they put the name of a company so they can say that these forces are private and have nothing to do with the American government or the Russian government and have no connection to the American or Russian forces. So, when this company publishes such pictures in record time today, less than 24 hours after these planes arrived at this airbase, and the matter was secret, I mean highly confidential, this is sending a message from China. A message that China will stand with Iran, a strong message to America, a message that such information will be available to Iran. And with constant updates, maybe every hour, maybe even less than that, Iran will receive such images. This will enable it to inflict casualties and losses, maybe human, maybe military, among the ranks of the American army. We are now talking about more than 500 Chinese satellites dedicated to surveillance and espionage, including 200 government satellites owned by China, and the rest are probably owned by private companies like these. This means we're talking about very significant intelligence capabilities. We're talking about a very high surveillance capacity, monitoring everything, big or small, a real surveillance capability. Today, China is able to monitor all movements of American forces in every region of the world. Information that China or these Chinese companies might make hundreds of millions of dollars from, meaning this Chinese support for intelligence is profitable. It appeared last May during the 4-day war between India and Pakistan, when China provided Pakistan with precise intelligence information that enabled them to hit targets with very high accuracy. So India had no choice but to request an end to the war at that time. If it weren't for this Chinese intervention, the war wouldn't have ended in just 4 days. And let's not forget that Pakistan at that time wasn't using the GPS system. They were using the Chinese equivalent, Beidou. Today, Iran has also started using this same system for positioning. We're talking about a successful Chinese strategy that allows them to support one side without getting involved in the war. What's new today is also the appearance of these aircraft at these Israeli military bases. This is happening for the first time because these aircraft are considered among the best kept military secrets by the Americans. The US has never exported them, not even a single unit. They are forbidden even for America's closest allies, banned for Britain, banned for Canada, for all countries, even for Israel. They're only available to US forces, exclusively. And they haven't been tested yet in any war or previous military operation, not in the Iraq War, not in the Afghanistan War, nor in the recent 12-day war against Iran. So for the first time, America might be preparing to test them in this strike against Iran. But today, everything was quickly exposed by China, which means America's moves have become very obvious. And it means we're entering another new shift in this conflict today between America and Iran. A shift that confirms this coming war will never be like those in the past or like any previous wars. Trump is truly in a very difficult position today. Nevertheless, all the indicators we have today still confirm that this war is still strongly on the table. For example, the American newspaper The New York Times said that the American ambassador in Israel sent a message to all embassy staff, urging them to leave Israeli territory as soon as possible to any other country. What matters is that they leave as soon as possible. The newspaper said that the American ambassador made this decision after speaking yesterday with senior officials at the US State Department. But despite that, up until now, it cannot be confirmed that this decision is a definite sign that the war is about to begin. Because this could also just be one of the other steps intended to put pressure on Iran to make more concessions in these negotiations, meaning to make Iran afraid, to make them think that this war is really coming. And then after that, to make them give in during these negotiations. Because the negotiations that took place yesterday in Geneva, Switzerland, really ended without any agreement. Until today, things are still far from reaching any agreement. They only agreed to hold another meeting at the technical level, which will be in Vienna, the capital of Austria. This time it will be exactly next Monday. And after that, maybe in a week or even less, there will be the start of another round of negotiations, even though we're talking about another week, which means things are still far off. So maybe this message sent by the American ambassador in Israel is just a false signal. The goal is to increase the pressure more and more until Monday or until next week. So the situation today may have changed in favor of Iran. That's a fact. That's the reality we see today. Trump is now in trouble. He can't start this war, and he can't back down either. Things have become much more complicated. Even China today, and we should pay close attention to this point, China is eagerly waiting for this war to start. China is sending signals that it will stand with Iran, but at the same time, it sees that this war is actually in its interest. It is eagerly waiting for Trump to make this mistake. Why do I say this? Because China wants Iran to drain the American missile capabilities. China has a long-term strategy. Regarding the Taiwan issue, China is saying today that every missile America fires at Iran is a missile America will need later, for example, if China invades Taiwan. We're talking about hundreds of smart missiles, air-to-surface missiles, Tomahawk missiles. We're talking about thousands of advanced bombs like the GBU and others as well. Of the ammunition that America is already suffering a major shortage of, all of it will be depleted from the American stockpile. And when America needs it at a critical moment, in the first hour of the coming major conflicts, it will find that it has lost it in a war for what? For the sake of Israeli national security, not American national security. Therefore, China, this is exactly what it wants. To drain American capabilities, to entangle it in a long war of attrition against Iran. That's why it will support Iran. Intelligence support, and it might develop into other things, because it will never allow the Iranian regime to fall. Therefore, I don't think Trump will take this risk and achieve exactly what China wants. Therefore, the pressing question that always remains is whether Trump will really back down from striking Iran, or will he choose to enter this quagmire? Let us know in the comments below this video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you, and goodbye.